The following is a production of the Lance J Radio Network and Best in the World Sports, a division of Definitive Visions Multimedia. The opinions and views expressed are strictly those of the host and do not represent the views of Lance J Radio Network.
You're listening to Jonesy Brown.
Both you are crazy.
With Mike Jones and John Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world famous Jonesy and Brown show. My name is John Brown. By my side is my partner in crime, my mellow, my man in the plan, my mellow, my ace in the place, Mr. Mike Jones.
What's going on?
Jones. What's happening, man?
Hey, man. I'm just happy to be here, man.
Well, look, man, we've gotten through Thanksgiving. And now we've moved on to December. So I have a gift for you today.
I like gifts.
You like gifts? I got a gift for you today. I got a good guest I wanted to bring in. This is a man who I have known for close to 17 years now. Work with him. He knows a lot of my deep professional secrets. He's a good guy. He can tell you exactly how great I am to work with. How great I am to be around. He's probably not going to say any of that, but it's all right though. This is a man I've worked with for a long time. He was one of the driving forces behind Daily News Live. He's worked just about every pre and post game Comcast Sportsnet / NBC Sports has to offer. Long-time worker, great guy. He's also sang the national anthem at a Phillies game. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Roche. We call him Booney, but Dan Roche is on the show today. Thank you, brother, for joining us, man.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been you know what? Again, it's a bucket list. I get to tick this one off the bucket list. It's been a dream of mine for a long time.
Now, I will say this. I will say this. Is this something I have not really? Well, I guess I have talked to you about it, but. Dan, you were like one of the first podcast hosts I ever encountered. Back in the day, you had a show on, I think it was CSN.com called the Podcast of Awesomeness.
We did the Podcast of Awesomeness, and that lasted a few months. It was myself, Sarah Baker, yes. John Finger, who at the time, I think he was the Phillies beat writer for CSNPhilly.com, and Dennis Deitch. He was also Phillies beat writer for the Delco Daily Times, and was it Mike Rodano? I want to say he was I think Burlington County Times, something like that. He was another Phillies beat writer, and we would just, there was no rhyme or reason or form or function to it. We just turned the mics on and just running and riffing for an hour a week. It was ridiculous.
Jonesy, I thought this was awesome. I would see them working on it. And I'm like 42 years old, and I'm looking at them like a little kid. Like, what is this that they're doing? This is great. They used to have sodas in the little beer koozies, so it would look like they were drinking beer in the middle of the newsroom. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm watching them. Oh my god!
You got to have the proper podcast aesthetic.
Yes, and
absolutely.
And I'm like, yo. And, like you said, he did it for a couple of months, and then, they moved on to other things. And I'm sitting there like, y'all need to bring that back. Y'all, like, this is great. This is groundbreaking stuff right here.
I would love to. And you guys are doing, I'd listen. Don't worry. I listen. You guys do it right. You you talk about the issues, but you keep it 100. You keep it light, You guys, obviously, you guys have a real vibe going. You definitely know your stuff, which is really important. It's a great backbone to have when you have a podcast. You can't just go on and just run your mouth or whatever, because people see right through it.
Yeah.
But the fact that you guys vibe together really, really helps.
Yeah, he's all right,
Yeah, well, you'll keep him.
He pushes my buttons most weeks on purpose.
So that's a big part of it too. You gotta know where the spots are to get him.
No, and he gives it right back. He,
Mhm.
it is what it is. I don't
It's
know how
fun.
I don't know how we got here. We sat at some point in time we met. We were in. I got introduced to Mike Jones through Eitan Shander and Jeff Mosher. The two of them introduced me to Mike Jones, and then we decided, hey, we do podcasts. Hey, let's try working on one together. And now here we are, Jonesy and Brown, episode 101. But look,
I missed 100. I missed the centennial anniversary episode. Oh, there was probably cake, wasn't there? There was cake.
No, you know what? There was no cake. There was no cake because we completely forgot that last episode was episode 100, and we didn't mention it at all.
This is the first I'm hearing about it.
If you listen,
you could have let it slip by, and I would have brought in a cake, and then everything would have been this one could have been 100.
There's absolutely no reference to show 100 during show 100. That just shows. that just shows where we were. We did it 2 weeks ago. Absolutely no reference to it being the 100th show. I don't know.
But you guys have so much fun with it. You probably lost track of the time. You probably thought it was like episode 38 or 44, something like that. And all of a sudden you're at 100. You're just like, wow, how did we get here?
Exactly. Exactly. That it is.
Definitely flies by.
But you
sure does.
You being a professional that you are, you've done this for a long time. You work with a lot of people, and you see a lot of things come and go. Like, how hard is it to maintain like just good content, like a good vibe? Nowadays everyone thinks that they can just grab a microphone. All you need is a mic and a Twitter page, and now everyone's an expert.
Well, I mean, as I mentioned before, and you guys do a great job of it, you have to work from a basis of knowledge. You can't just come on and say like, well, I think the Eagles are going to blah, blah, blah. And I think that, this player is this and this player is that, or whatever. You have to be able to back it up with facts, because eventually your audience will see through whatever kind of facade that you're trying to throw up there. Like if you want to come on and you have a podcast that's a take machine. It's just like, I don't think Kyle Schwarber was ever really good, and he got lucky hitting 56 home runs last year because they didn't know how to pitch him. Well, they know how to pitch him now, and now he'll be lucky to hit 10. Well, you're just saying that stuff to get a rise out of people, and people see right through it. And eventually they'll only watch because you're a sideshow. Really, you're not. People are not watching you because they like you. They're actually watching. They're picking up snippets probably from your social to just comment and tell you how bad you stink anyway. And there'll be people who do that when you do it right anyway too. But the basis for all of it, and people will come and people will go, and errors will come and errors will go. But you have to deal from facts, and you have to from straight knowledge of what you're talking about. And you also got to have perspective and say, whatever, like, yes, this player is good for right now, but this player, 20 years ago couldn't hang with this player and that player, whatever. Or if you put Tyrese Maxey in 20 years ago, he would still be the same player. He's a player that translates. So, knowledge and perspective are the two like cornerstones to me of what would a really good jumping off point, and you guys do a great job of it.
Well, look, we definitely appreciate that. We'll take compliments from wherever they come from, man. We appreciate that, man. Hey, look, now I guess we hear so many hot takes, and some are funny, some humorous, some are just that. Hot takes. And I guess what I've always tried to use my platform for and Jonesy as well, I guess, because the two of us have been Philly fans for so long. And sometimes, you see takes kind of, they just reinvent. They're the same takes, just reinvented for whatever player is here today.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times Jonesy and I will talk about Jalen Hurts, and there are legitimate criticisms of him. But then there's some things you hear about Jalen Hurts that you heard about 5, which you also heard about Randall. So a lot of times.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I see where you're going. I see the connecting thread.
but like, I guess over the years, like how have you, I guess, like how have you navigated with that? Like, and what are things that you have heard over the years that you've kind of gotten sick of hearing? And like, what would you like how would you correct that?
Well, I mean, I think that, Jalen Hurts and like you said, everybody down the line, McNabb, Vic, Cunningham, Mahomes, all of them, they have shown every naysayer to come down the pike that if you could play, you could play. Like, and that should always be the rule. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, people are, feel some type of way about Asian players or whatever. Shohei Otani's rewriting every doggone record book you want.
That man's
a
beast. Yep.
That guy can't stop doing stuff night in, night out to make you say, "Holy crap! I've never seen that before in my life from anybody." And that's to him. That's Tuesday. Like basically, you like that. Wait till you see what I do tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's like I said, you deal in fact. If you can play, you can play, and that's going on. I mean, like I said, Hurts and Mahomes and the players that we have in this era, and even in eras gone by, that you see them have success and win games and win playoff games and win Super Bowls and dominate in Super Bowls that you've seen. That it is. I think it's stripped away that stereotype that this time, these quarterbacks can't win you anything. These quarterbacks look great and they can do a lot of things, but you can't win with, and it's foolish on its face. I mean, just that this guy doesn't have this particular whatever, like it, or winning gene or whatever. There's no winning gene. You like it. I mean, it's as old as the hills, man. You either can or you can't, and that's it. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I don't know. Like I said, players will come and players will go, and they make winners in all shapes, sizes, and colors, and races.
And just like us, you watched the Eagles for a long time, just like me and Jonesy. You've seen the quarterbacks come, you've seen quarterbacks go. We have a quarterback who has now played on this team in 2 Super Bowls. Played fairly well in the first one, was Super Bowl MVP on the winning team on the second one.
Could have been MVP in the first one too.
Could have been MVP.
Score ended up differently. If the score ended up differently, would have been the MVP of the first one.
That being said, yet here we are with an 8-4 team. Now, understand they're not perfect. Understand they're not perfect. But here we are on an 8-4 team. And people are still asking that question. Can he be the guy? That's the question people are asking. Not everybody, but there's still people asking.
I understand that. My answer to that question is he already is the guy. Like he has been the guy. Like, yes, he's not having the best year, but you can't name me any one of the 53 guys on this Eagles team, and you can ramp that number up to whatever 80 and count every coach, everybody, and say, you know what, last year was unbelievable, but this player really stepped it up this year too. Like this player's also had a really good 2025. You can't, because nobody has. Like it seems like everybody, all the way up from Jalen Hurts all the way down to the worst player on the team, which is Grant Calcaterra, by the way. In case you were wondering, the worst player on the Eagles
Worst
is
player on
Grant
the team.
Calcaterra. He is, yes, he is a doggone road cone, and I'm not afraid to say it. He's a tight end. He's a tight end they don't throw it to, and he can't block you, me, or your grandma. And I mean, but anyway, and nobody on this team is having as good a year, let alone a better year than they had last year. I don't think I've ever seen in my life that everybody took a step back, but that seems to be the case from the offensive line, the defensive line. Now you got Jalen Carter getting injections in his shoulders, and he's probably, I mean, he's going to miss this week, likely be out next week too. I mean, AJ Brown, I mean, the only guy you could say is probably having as good, if not a better year than last year, maybe Dallas Goedert. And Dallas Goedert's, caught like 3 passes in the last 2 weeks because they work him into he goes in, he's into the game plan, he's out of the game plan. It's like a shadow.
Yeah, he had a great start to the season.
Yeah, he had 7 touchdowns in the first 7-8 games. It was great. He was a red zone magnet, and then all of a sudden they forgot who he was. They should wear a name tag to the next practice. It says, "Hello, my name is."
Who do you blame that on? I guess, and that can also be part of like where we go next, where you figure out this team has had its struggles, and I felt like one of my arguments about a month ago, when people were complaining about AJ Brown not getting his touches, and his complaints was, well, Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert seem to be having career years, but now
everybody's, you're not going to make everybody happy in an offense where they work that out. And I mean, not for nothing. I mean, last year, and they had a great year, they won the Super Bowl or whatever. They threw the ball to those 3 guys, and that's about it. They threw it to Brown. If they didn't throw it to Brown, threw it to Smith. If they didn't throw it to either of those 2 guys, they threw it to Goddard. And if they didn't throw it to those 3 guys, they ran the ball, and that was it. I mean, but yeah, you're not wide receivers. You're never going to make them happy. It's honestly, it's like the crazy girlfriend. Like she's drop dead gorgeous, but man, she's never happy. Or she's her crazy's just going to show up at church, or or crazy's just going to show up in the middle of the supermarket when you're in aisle 8 trying to pick cereal or whatever, and all of a sudden, you get a text from somebody you didn't know from 30 years ago, and all of a sudden now you're fighting because the crazy showed up. Well, AJ's crazy showed up, and I can't explain it. And now and now he has 10 catches and 2 touchdowns. Crazy went away. The team lost.
So, the wins went away too, but the crazy went away. The crazy and the wins went away. Yeah,
right. But it's wild though, man. It's like I said, the wide receivers, you can't keep them happy. So, you just do your best to keep them as happy as you possibly can. But I mean, from what I heard, 1 or 2 stories that said that it's not in the media or whatever. Like, and he wouldn't litigate this in the media because I think he's just too nice a guy. But like, Devontae Smith can't stay out of Jalen Hurts' ear about getting the ball on the sidelines, like just chewing it off. And you know what? Good. That's fine. You know what? Show me you're crazy. Show me you want the ball on every play. That's what I want that teammate. I want that guy with me on my team.
So he's got a guy whose social media name is literally "I'm always open," and a guy that tells him any chance he gets, "I'm always open."
Pretty much, yes. And oddly, neither one is happy until they catch
until they catch the ball.
30 passes in a game.
Yeah, understood.
So
funny how that works.
And kind of here's where we get into some interesting conversations, because I kind of end up on the other end of the spectrum.
Ain't no kind of.
Where I believe, because I believe the quarterback is good. I do not believe the quarterback is great. And from what we saw, what was it from 21 to 22, from his first year of a starter to the first Super Bowl appearance in his second year as a starter, you saw dramatic improvement from him as a passer. Since then, it seems like he's pretty much plateaued, which is not something I want to see from a fairly young quarterback. At some point, if he doesn't keep improving as a passer, I see it pretty much taking the Russell Wilson in Seattle path, where when your legs disappear, you're pretty much done. So when AJ started saying the offense needs to be better, I was right there with him. Like, yeah, the offense needs to be better. You can't lead the league in 3 and outs. You can't be an offense that is moving the ball and looks unstoppable for 2 quarters, and the other 2 quarters you get 20 yards total, which seems to be what this offense is. JB will tell you, my issue with Hurts, it has never been what he looks like when he plays at his ceiling. My issue with Hurts is, how often are you playing at or near your ceiling? And so that's where I tend to have my issues.
I can't disagree with you. While at times he can look great, he can. He has that capability. He has that ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
He's extremely streaky and spotty, and it goes just as quickly as it comes. Jonesy this team's not winning on first down like they were. You know,
right.
they're not keeping other teams guessing with game plans, with play calls. And the offensive line, like I said, like the rest of the team, the offensive line is first in line as far as like taking a collective step back.
Absolutely.
Lane Johnson's hurt. Dickerson's been playing hurt all season.
As has Juergens.
Juergens as well. Yeah, he's been playing hurt all season. Jordan Mailata has taken a giant step back for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on in his life. I hope he gets it fixed. If you tell me that you're close, guess what? I know you're losing the next game and probably the next 2, because teams that say that they're close are never, ever, ever close.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very telling. But you got to win on first down. Like it's second and 7, second and 8 or more isn't working. And it's with the Eagles, it's second and 10 or more, because they either run a play that run Barkley, who doesn't go anywhere because of either the team either knows what play that's coming, or they don't know the play that's coming and the Eagles can't block it up, or somebody jumps and false start and it's 1st and 15, and then you got to work your way back from behind again, because of the penalties are ridiculous. Like they're making mistakes. They're making they're making mistakes that good teams don't make.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're 8-4 and you were 8-2 2 weeks ago, but all of a sudden you're 8-4 and you're making mistakes that good teams just don't make with these false starts, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't look like the same. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
If you told me that by and large this roster is virtually the same roster that blew the Chiefs off the field in the Super Bowl, and blew them off the field. They didn't win the game. They blew them off the field. Like I wouldn't believe that this is the same team. There's no shot that this is the same team.
And I think part of the problem, and you've touched on a lot of good points with this, because you talked about how it seemed like last year they pretty much had 3 targets. Do it to AJ, do it to Devontae, do it to Dallas, and if they didn't do that, they ran the ball. And I thought part of the problem is, and you hear it so much you hear it a lot this season, they talk about how predictable the offense is. Mm-hmm. And my argument to that was, this offense has always been predictable.
Yeah.
but they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. You knew the ball was going to go to Barkley, but they were pushing you all the way down the field, so it didn't matter. Whereas this year, just like you talked about, the team is collectively taking a step back, but they still want to hold on to the same offensive philosophy where we're just going to play our play, we're going to play our game, and you got to stop it. But the problem is, people are stopping it. That's the problem. This offensive line. You talked about this offensive line. This offensive line is playing like we thought they were going to play last year. When everyone was asking, hey, how can this offensive line bounce back from losing Jason Kelce? What's going to happen? And everyone seemed to have overachieved. Everyone played over their heads. And it took them right to the Super Bowl. Whereas now, you talk about Landon Dickerson being hurt all season long. These are the injuries that we were worried about when we drafted him. Cam Jurgens being injured. Steen being a step back from Mekhi Becton and Lance and Lane Johnson not even being on the field. So,
it's wild, man. It's wild. I mean, before you even get to, Jonesy's point about Jalen Hurts, who, he's got a super high ceiling, but the floor is just as low as the ceiling is high. But there's so many other factors. We haven't even talked about the offensive coordinator. We haven't.
Well, we won't talk about him.
I'm sure you guys could probably do a couple hours on the offensive coordinator, but like there's so many people are just arguing with each other over like who gets how much blame for what's going wrong with the team or whatever. It's just like
there's enough to go around.
There's plenty. And what I don't understand is like, good teams with good coaches usually fix this stuff up. Like would this offense is, this is week 14 that we're going into right now. And the offense with very, very little variance has looked exactly the same through the first 13 weeks of the season. And, I don't imagine that we're going to see some sort of a crazy change in the last 5 games of the season. Honestly, I'm rooting hard for the Lions tonight so that the Cowboys will play themselves right out of the division race, because if the Eagles don't win the NFC East, they're not making the playoffs. All those wild card teams they're already in front of them. And I don't see them losing more games than the Eagles stand to lose going down the stretch. They have the Raiders. They have 2 games against the Commanders. This Chargers game will be tough, but I don't think, they have a good defense. Their offensive line has been a wreck all year. There's 2 offensive lines going head to head that are, Swiss cheese and Swiss cheesier. Like it's terrible. The Chargers, I think, are on like their 4th left tackle, something like that. And this guy was a spare all year and the fans are like happy that this guy's he's a 2nd round pick in like 2022 Sailor. And, they bounced everybody around just trying to fill holes because so many injuries along that line, both tackles out, and somehow the Eagles might look just as bad, which is crazy.
But something that you just said that was interesting. You talked about the problems that this team has and the fact that it hasn't looked different. It hasn't necessarily improved over the course of the season. You said good coaches find a way to fix this. Well, that brings us to Nick Sirianni, who hasn't been able to fix it, and he has been fashioned as this CEO coach. He's not necessarily the coordinator on either side of the ball. He puts people in line to run these things for him, and now he's sitting here. He's got a offensive coordinator who most fans want run out of town, and at least you could say the defense was holding this team together over the last couple of weeks. But then after this Chicago game, now there's questions there, and plus Jalen Carter's hurt.
Right.
And, so at this point now, you're looking at Nick Sirianni, and can he fix this? Do you think, how much faith do you have in Nick Sirianni being able to fix this?
I'm really not sure, honestly. Like, I mean, all the things that Jonesy, you said about Jalen Hurts, to where he can look terrific and he can look terrible, and honestly, he could do that in the same quarter. Nick Sirianni is the coach embodiment of Jalen Hurts. They are in lockstep. They can look super smart.
Mhm.
They can make the right decision, like that, that dagger play in the Super Bowl where he's just like, you know what, screw it. Let's go deep. We get the
Mhm.
ball back. Let's put this game out of its misery. Let's go deep to Devontae. And he did it, and they scored, and he's dancing up and down the sidelines like, which that, I mean, it's another story for the day. I don't need my coaches dancing. I really don't. Even if he can dance, I don't care. He can't, not even though he can't dance. I don't want him to dance. But
I like
jumping
dancing
up and down like he just won the Showcase Showdown on the Price.
I like dancing coaches. I wish Buddy Ryan danced more. Rich Kotite would have been more. Rich Kotite would have been more. Would have won more games had he danced more.
Is that right? That's what, you're probably right.
Yes.
But
Ray Rhodes should have danced more.
Sirianni can look like a genius and a knucklehead in back-to-back plays. You can lay Patullo at his feet. He promoted him. Like, he's had that guy. This guy's 5th year with the team. What I don't understand is, like, you didn't come in with any fresh ideas. Like, you were watching this offense. You know what this offense can do and what it can't do. You've been here for 5 years. You didn't come in and say, you know what I'd really like to do? You know what we could do? We could run this play off of that play, and this play that we already ran, I'll run this variable this way, and then this guy will be wide open because everybody's going to think we're going to be running the same old play, and I'll bust this one off, and here we go. Nope. Last week, they put that Grant Calcaterra in for 12 plays. He was in place. Exactly, it doesn't. One of the plays was a quarterback sneak, so I don't count that one. The other 11 plays, 10 of those plays, he lined up either left or right. If he lined up on the left, they ran to the right. If he lined up on the right, they ran to the left. And the Bears knew where he was going to be, and they were just going to run to his weak side. And that's why Barkley can't get out of first gear, because everything is just so formulaic and predictable. And honestly, the other teams consider as a win multiple tight ends on the field, because the Eagles only have one tight end on the team that can block. And they used to run, before Lane Johnson got hurt, they used to run the jumbo package. They bring in Fred Johnson as the extra lineman.
Yep.
Well, they don't do, now that Fred Johnson's no longer an extra lineman, they don't do that anymore. And stop. Like, they need to come up with some new ideas. I mean, they've had 2 or 3. They had the bye week. They've had other games where they've had Thursday night games. They've had Friday games where they get extra days to maybe work on some stuff in extra days or whatever, to install different plays or whatever. And it's just not happening. Keep it. You need fresh ideas. And I mean, this guy's, to this point, he ain't it. He's not it. And that's the points right back to Sirianni, because Sirianni thought that this guy can run an offense. Not this one. Not this one. I mean, I don't think he's ever run an offense before, but not in the NFL. And other teams are sniffing out the plays, man. It's embarrassing.
Do you remember earlier this season? I believe it was a third or short, a fourth or short. They lined up for the tush push. And they ran that fake to Saquon Barkley to the outside. Shocked everybody.
Absolutely.
And we haven't seen that since.
They one time Hurts took the snap and backed up and threw like a fade to AJ Brown, but overthrew it. That's the only 2 times I've ever seen them line up and not run.
And not
Hurts Hurts in an A gap.
Yeah,
And
and I guess in part of the frustration, because you see nothing. There's so many issues. You talk about everyone taking that step back, and it's like you look for the coaches to throw some sort of wrinkle in there to kind of shake things up and to work around the talent that you have.
Exactly.
So here's where it gets a little complicated for me. Through Sirianni's history, he and Hurts attached at the hip. First year coach, first year starter. Here's what happens. The offense was bad when Sirianni first got here. He was calling plays. That wasn't working. They were 2-5 to start that year. He gave up playing calling to Steichen, and the answer Steichen came up with was throw the ball less, run the ball more. That formula carried them through the Super Bowl in 22. Then they bring in what's his name in 23. Why am I blanking on his name? But they threw the ball a little more, and Hurts had a career high of interceptions. He was at 15.
You talking about Johnson?
Yeah, that's his name.
Brian Johnson. Yeah,
Brian Johnson. They threw the ball a little more, but Hurts had a lot of interceptions that season. 15 was high. You bring in Kellen Moore the year after. First 2 games, you're 2-2, moving the ball, scoring points, but you're turning it over too much. And the answer Kellen Moore came up with was, we're only throwing the ball 17 times a game from the rest of the season. Multiple coaches, multiple coordinators, the same formula for success was always less on this quarterback. And right now, with the running game not working, it feels like a situation where you need more out the quarterback. So am I going to say all these coaches who have done at Steichen and Kellen Moore, who have both had success in other places, am I going to say they just don't know how to coach a passing game, or am I going to lean towards the quarterback limits what they can do?
Well, I honestly, can I check C for all of the above? Can I say that?
Yes, you can.
Like as I mentioned before, Jonesy, there's so much blame to go around, and Hurts deserves a chunk of it, and the O-line deserves a chunk of it, and the offensive coordinator and the head coach deserve a chunk of it. You are
1,000% right with everything that you just said. I'm not discounting one word. You nailed every point. Every point.
And after a certain point, I mean, these guys are, and I don't know. I mean, you watch the offense, and it's just like, well, you running this play, and nobody can get open, or you run this play, and that guy's open, and Hurts can't find him. It's just like, it's almost like spin the wheel of blame. It's like who's going to screw up this time? Like 3rd and 8. Who do we got to screw up this time? Somebody going to miss a block. Somebody's going to miss an assignment. Somebody's going to miss a route. They're going to call a crappy play. Or is Hurts just going to ignore the fact that, whatever, Dallas Goedert's walking down the sideline with nobody within 15 yards of him, and because he's staring down A.J. Brown. It's unbelievable. But like I said, you didn't tell one lie in anything that you just said, and I really appreciate that you said that. But that's what's so mystifying about this team. Like, how did they win? How did they won 8 games to this point? Looking at this team right now, like, how are they 8-4? How are they not 4-8? It really is. It's beyond a mystery. Like this team.
They've won 8 games. There's not a lot of teams that can say they already won 8 games this year. But there are times where they look like, forget about winning a game. Getting a first down is a bridge too far for them.
I said it earlier this week that, especially after, I think I said it right after that Bears game, that this team has consistently found a way to be as frustrated as you possibly can with a team with a winning record. More than like any team I've ever seen. This team is 8-4, and just like you said, I'm angry like they're 4-8.
Mhm.
And when you're trying, and here we are, after 12 games, and then you look at this team. This team has beaten the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers,
They have
the
a hell of a
Lions,
resume. Mhm.
and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
But then but here we are, those are the teams that this team has beaten. But then as we look going into the playoffs, you then have to ask yourself, is this team better than the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers? And they don't play, haven't played them, but y'all, are they better than Seattle? They split the season, they split the season series with the Cowboys. They run it back a third time. What happens? Could they, if they play the Cowboys a third time, if those two teams were to play again, could that happen? Could they beat
This
that?
team is an absolute mystery right now. I mean, they don't look great. I mean, we've seen what they can do, and we've also seen what they can't do in spades. But it's unbelievable where you really don't know minute to minute like what this team could do. Like, I mean, they didn't do it first half against the Bears. They did like nothing on offense, and then all of a sudden, 2 plays down the field, 70 yards. One long play, and then the Brown long throw, touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hey fellas, welcome back.
Well, for a brief moment, they look like an 8-win team.
Right.
And that's the frustration. No one can deny that this team has all the talent, all the ability to get it done, perform at a high level. And as critical as I'm including the quarterback when I say that. I acknowledge he's very good when he's playing at or near his ceiling. It's kind of like the John Starks of quarterbacks with his passing. Hey, when John Starks was on, he'd give you 40, hit 10 for 10 from 3. When he's off, he's going 0 for 18.
We're going to
Jonesy. That's not a great analogy because the next time John Starks passes will be the first time.
Fair enough.
I mean, John Stark could hang 40 on you, but he's never going to let a teammate get it.
Mm.
That's fair enough. But
I definitely see your point.
Yeah.
It's super streaky, man. Super streaky.
And it's just frustrating. But yet they move on. Real quick, I did want to get your opinion. Darius Slay got waived by Steelers. There was a briefly, I think a lot of people entertained the idea of him coming back to the Eagles.
Including the Eagles, reportedly.
Including the Eagles. Buffalo was like, not so fast. Let's scoop him up real quick. So that's not. It seems like it's not going to happen.
Although he
said he's not going to. He said he's not going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bills can just say, you know what, we'll just put you on the reserve / retired list.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to show up. That means you're not playing for anybody.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much us or nobody. Nobody seems to want to talk about that. But I mean, honestly, he was a healthy scratch for the Steelers. So I'm gonna politely say no, thank you to Mr. Slay. He gave us some wonderful, wonderful years, which I will remember fondly. But now it's not the time for him to try to swoop in and try to save the day.
Okay. So are you saying that you were cool going into Monday night watching 4 quarters of Adoree Jackson?
I didn't say that either. But I mean, Adoree Jackson's not a healthy scratch. They put Adoree Jackson on the field at least. And Adoree Jackson can make some plays. He has gotten better than he was. Like he was pretty bad early on the season. But he's gotten a bit better.
In the Lions game.
Yeah, he was decent in the Lions game.
And honestly, I don't think he's going to have to. I mean, Justin Herbert's a good quarterback,
but he's going to be running for his life like he normally is week in, week out. So I don't feel like if Jackson is going to have to do too much, like he would have against, say, Dallas or what have you. Dallas worked him, but Dallas's wide receivers are unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Like George Pickens is, a top 2 receiver in the league right now. And CeeDee Lamb, if he could catch, would probably be right there with him. Like, I mean, I've never seen anybody drop so many passes as CeeDee Lamb has this year.
I've never seen somebody who is billed as a good player drop as many passes. Like
it hit. I mean, the hit him
right in his hands.
In both hands. It was like clicking the replacements. I've seen such a thing from a professional player. Like it defies description.
But I guess one last thing before moving on from this whole Slay situation. My question was to the both of you. You talked about just, from a talent standpoint, not wanting him on this team. But I feel like with having two players within the organization just up and retire, is that really the energy that you want to bring around this team with how shaky this lineup is? Do you want somebody who pulled that same type of stunt to get out of a team, to get away from a team? Is that the type of player you want now to bring into your locker room? You've brought in 2 players who then decided, you know what, I'm good. I'm just going to not play football. Or do you want somebody who then does that same thing to another organization in your locker room?
For me, I'd say the past relationship with Slay makes it a little different than bringing in someone who you have no history with.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the one real concern with Slay, it wouldn't have been what he did to the locker room. He knows the locker room. He knows the defense. Everybody knows him. Mm-hmm. It's whether or not he actually still has it on the field. I personally would have been willing to at least give him a flyer. If he can't go, sit him back down.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, that part of it wasn't something that I would have been worried about with Slay.
Mm-hmm.
He's an older player. He's just looking at it like, I don't want to go there. That happens with older players.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. I mean, and I could definitely see your point, Jonesy, as far as the devil you know versus the devil you don't. With as far as Slay, like, you know what you're getting in that guy, or at least you think you know what you're getting in that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He does have, maybe a little bit more miles on his tires than he did when you left him. But I'm not 100% sure that, just let's sign him. Like, this isn't really a Woody. Like, it's not like it's not like, the alternative isn't that terrible. Like, if Adoree Jackson was still the Adoree Jackson that we saw earlier in the season, probably take a shot.
Okay.
Because you really don't have as much to lose. But now that Adoree Jackson is starting to play a little bit better, and the rest of the secondary is getting a little bit healthier, you should get Epps back this week to help out a little bit. But I think we could pump the brakes on Darius Slay.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Adoree Jackson has improved.
You higher on Adoree Jackson than me.
No. In all fairness, though, he has looked better.
In the
last couple games than he did in the first 4 or 5 weeks, especially. And I think part of that, though, is your pass rush is a little better too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's all connected. It's all connected, Jonesy, and you're 100% right about that. And also could be, a good coach working around the shortcomings of his personnel, which is what good coaches do, as opposed to, I don't know, Kevin Patullo.
No, that being said, or that being said, let's come back to Patullo before we let you go. I feel
I'm listening to you. I'm just plugging in. I'm losing power.
I feel like this team panicked a couple of years ago when they made coordinator changes in season, and it just seems like they just don't want to do that again. But at this point now, do you feel like is this a situation? Does the panic button need to be pressed here? Are we at a situation where we need to press the panic? Like something has to be done now. I understand what happened in the past, and people don't want to panic like they did in the past, because you saw how that season fell apart. But here we are at 8-4, and it looks like the sky is falling.
I don't know about you, Jonesy, but I almost feel like they're pot committed on Patullo, and that it's almost too late to make a change now, like to actually like flip the game plan and introduce a whole big fleet of new plays, 12, 13 games in. I mean, I think if they were going to make I really think if they were going to make a move, they should have done it 3-4 weeks ago, or in the bye when you had 2 weeks to maybe install some of these new plays with a new guy, or or at least have maybe the existing guy come up with some different plays, a different wrinkle on existing plays, and install that then. But now, that train's way out of the station, and I think making that change would just be throwing bad money on top of good.
Absolutely. Like a couple years ago, when you tried it on defense, it was a disaster. And defense is typically the side of the ball that picks up things quicker, which is why offenses at the start of every season need time to get themselves in rhythm, where defense is the side of the ball you pick up quick. So if it was a complete disaster 2 years ago when you tried it on defense, there's no way I would want to try that in a season where you're still 8-4. If you're 4-8, your season's already over, and you're looking at players like, we need to find something to help develop these players. Yeah, that makes sense, because you're not looking at trying to make a deep run or do anything. At this point in the season with a winning team, you can't do it this late.
Nope.
It's just asking for disaster at this point in the season to try to make a change.
Exactly. That's making a change for the sake of making a change at that point.
I understand. All right, Booney, gotta explain to you how we do things on this show.
Okay.
Jonesy and I, last season.
No predictions.
No
predictions.
This man, he only does watch the show.
I'm a veteran, Jonesy. JB, I'm a veteran, man. I know y'all don't do predictions.
That's why I love this man. Honestly, that's why I love this man. But you know what we do? Expectations. What do you expect to see on Monday?
I expect that the Eagles offense will look better, because it can't look as much worse than it did against the Bears. And excuse me, I think the defensive line is going to look better, because I feel like they knew that they weren't going to have Jalen Carter. And Jalen Carter got manhandled last week against the Bears because he didn't have any, he couldn't push. His shoulders were dead. So they'll rally around that. I think they're going to have to find another defensive tackle. Maybe Ty Robinson makes my expectations that we'll see him for the first time this year.
That'd be nice.
And I'm hopeful that he'll give them a boost. But my expectations is that I will see more of Jalen Phillips, like I saw the first game he played against the Eagles, than every game since. He's so far has been a one-hit wonder with the Eagles, and I need to see more of him, and I expect that.
Okay.
He should have his chances against this O-line.
True. Very true.
All right. Look, sir, an hour goes fast. Real quick, let people know where they can get in contact with. What are you working on now? Where can people contact you?
I'm still at NBC Sports Philadelphia. I'm producing and directing. We are simulcasting the Drive Time radio show from 2 to 6 for 97.5 The Fanatic, unfiltered with Ricky Bowe and Bill Colarulo and Silvana Kelleher. They do great work. They deal in facts like you gentlemen do, which makes it such a great listen and makes you such a great listen. They have a lot of fun, which you guys do similarly. And I try to keep it moving, get the pictures and the graphics going and move the cameras around and stuff like that. Also writing content and voicing over some stuff for NBCSphilly.com. You can find me on X at Roaches. The letter R, Winners, is my screen name on there. I'm Dan Roach 4 on Instagram. You can find all my stuff, all my takes and other stuff, and you can find me on NBCSphilly.com. My written content, my pieces that I write about whatever's going on in the world.
Awesome.
It has been a pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me. I really had a lot of fun talking.
It's been great. Thank you.
Oh, for real.
No problem, man.
Yes, appreciate you. And like I said, this is a brother I've known for 17 years, man. Always enjoyed working with you. I always learned a lot by watching you. I've always admired your professionalism. I've admired your work.
You never did get my son that sneaker deal, though. You never did give my son that sneaker deal. You said you were going to give him a sneaker deal.
Look, man. I made a lot of promises because I saw his potential. You know, I was trying to get that man NIL long before he was going to be the first little leaguer to have an NIL deal. I know I promised that to you, and I fell through. I'm sorry. I know I failed your family, but I still love you guys, and I hope, you know, I've always hoped that you don't hold that against me.
I won't. And you know what? It's not over yet. He's still only 16, so you could still, you know, you still got a couple of good years to get that NIL money coming in.
You still got a chance.
There you go.
I'll make some phone
Window's
calls.
Window's not closed, JB.
I'll make some phone calls as soon as I get off.
I appreciate that.
I will work on that. I will get your son his money, man. I will try. I've been trying to, man. But Booty, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, good brother.
JB, thank you. Jonesy, it's been a pleasure. Very nice meeting you. And
you too. Thank you.
Keep watching Best in the World, y'all.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you, sir. That was Dan Roche, man. That was my man. I love that dude, man. I love that dude. Back in the day, used to always, you know, because working at Comcast Sportsnet / NBC Sports Philadelphia, you know, it's one of those situations where I compare it to like working at a record label. Whereas you think if you work at a record label, everybody thinks they can sing, everybody thinks they can rap. Like you go there, a lot of sports takes. You go through that newsroom, you know, there's almost always somebody in a sports debate. But Dan Roche was always someone I enjoyed talking to, I enjoyed interacting with, and just watching him navigate through, you know, all the talent and all the, you know, the goings on those shows was always great to see, man. This was a good moment, man. I was glad to share that with you, man.
Oh man, that was a good show. Good dude. And those are sports.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
all right.
Talk to somebody who knows sports every once in a while.
Whoa. You talk to somebody who knows sports like every week in me. Ladies and gentlemen, you let me know what you think of this show. Let me know what you think of today's show. Hit me up. Facebook, Instagram, X, at Jonesy and Brown. Or, you know, it might just be at Ann Brown, you know, or at BITW Sports. Hit us up. You can download this podcast. You can find the links to wherever you get your podcast from. Just go to bitwsports.com. This has been the Jonesy and Brown podcast. That is Mike Jones. Any final thoughts? Exactly. Thank you.
I'll get myself started again. I almost said something about the basketball team.
Oh my God. You know what? Well, look, as of right now, they're beating up on the Golden State Warriors.
That is as of right now.
As of right now. By the time you download this podcast or listening to it, you will find out what happened to that game. But as of right now, they're beating up on the Warriors. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy the sports. Enjoy the game on Monday, and we'll talk to you then. We'll talk to you next week. Peace, y'all.
This podcast is a production of Best in the World Sports, a division of Definitive Visions Multimedia. To subscribe, download, and follow on social media, go to bitwsports.com.
You're listening to Jonesy and Brown.